The next step that we're going to do is we're going to invert those dichotomous positions for the votes that needed to be reversed, right? So the ones where we had the poison pill amendments. So we know which ones we need to invert from the macro level data sheet. And so we have this column that tells us yes, invert, and we have this cross-check column. And so we're going to use both of those at this point. So print off your sheet and have it ready as we go to the next step. To invert the votes, we're going to go back to our SPSS sheet, and we were in micro example version 2. Make sure that you save that to your desktop or have it available, because this step is really important, and if you get it wrong, we have to go back to this version. So at this point, we're going to use that same recode version again. So let's do transform, recode into same variables, and we have those same numbers over there, but let me get rid of all of these. And let's start from scratch, right? So I'm going to go back to my original kind of map of telling me which ones I need to invert, and I'm going to put them over there. And so I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone through my variable list, and all of mine need to be inverted with the exception of 3. And so I went through and I moved 3 back. 527 was the first vote that I needed to move back. After that, 534, and then my final passage vote, which was 540. And then I cross-checked and I made sure that all of these are the exact same. All right, so these are the ones that needed to invert. Now I'm ready to click on old and new values. Here I'm going to get rid of all of these, right? Okay, and then once I have those out of there, I'm going to insert 2 simple ones, and I'm going to change. If the value was 1 before, I'm going to make that value 0. And if that value was 0 before, I'm going to make those values 1. And so that's what we mean by inverting these votes, right? So we're just making 1 zeros and zeros ones. System missing, obviously they're just missing, so we're not going to do anything there. Continue, and we'll go through and we'll have this kind of set up. So I've got my 3 over here that I needed to kind of keep there, and I've got the rest over here that I needed to invert. The old and new rules are 1s are going to be 0s, 0s are going to be 1s, and I'm going to continue, and I'm just going to click OK, and we're good. All right, so that's going to run, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to immediately file save as version 3. Because depending on what the next check is, I may have to go back to the version 2 and try again. Okay, good. Now that I've inverted my votes, I'm ready to do a cross-check to make sure that I've got that step correct. And we can do that really easily with some descriptive statistics. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the Analyze tab. I'm going to look at descriptive statistics, and I'll just click frequencies. And I'm going to go and I'm going to move over all of those votes that I just worked with, right? So I'll do all of these. Let me stop and I'll come back. Okay, so I've got all of my variables over here. None of them are in there, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run a simple frequency table on each one of these kind of recoded variables. So it'll run and it'll give you a tab, and it'll go through and it'll give you each one of these individually. And what you'll do is you can take this and you can click on that whole thing and then print it. And then just send it to, I'll send it out there to a printer. And I'm going to cross-check that against my macro level table and make sure that everything is good. So let me stop here. I'm going to go. Okay, so I went through each one of these votes and I looked at the number of ones that I had in each one of those versus my macro sheet, and lo and behold, every one of them was on target. So at this point, we have inverted our votes, we have recoded them correctly, and we are at the end of this lesson. Our next lesson will be putting together our dependent variable, and then we have to import some independent variables for the last one before we do some plots and correlations. Okay, real good. And I'll be right back in another video.